Hi, Ann Cornick from Paint and Porcelain Exchange. Tonight we're going to be working on the final fire of our barn. Now, it may not be your final fire, I have to tell you. There is a good chance that you will need more than one final fire on this barn. And I would think that's probably because what I'm doing now, you may want it darker after you're done putting the pen work on, or you may have to go over your pen work again. If you remember my barn from originally, this is what it looked like. And it's, let me turn it this way. And it's very, very light. It's light. And I prefer this barn over the other one that I'm going to be working on. You may want to have yours be dark. That's entirely up to you. But I think my preference will still be the lighter one because I just think it looks more rugged and you can see the detail a lot better. In order to work today, I'm using pen oil. You can use regular oil. It just doesn't work as well. So I'm going to be using this one, which I get both of these from Dallas, China here in the United States. AMP5 Easy Flow. Everybody calls it Easy Flow. I just got a little vial like this. I've probably had it 5 years. So you don't use much unless you do a lot of line drawings. And the other one that you can purchase, and this might be easier if you're going to work on a little bit at a time, let it dry, and a little bit more at a time and let it dry, and then maybe you decide you want to make the colors darker, you could do that even while you have the pen oil on there and not fired, because this is the AGS 21 drying pen oil, also from Dallas, China here in the United States. And I used about the same amount. So what I'm showing you is a very basic for beginners kind of, this is how you can get some pen work practice in. And because this barn is old and rickety, it doesn't have to look perfect. Oh, the only color I added tonight, and I probably should have told you, but I didn't, was a yellow brown, warm brown green to put in the foreground. I have a little extra black and brown mixed up. I will show you how I mix from my palette, and that way you'll get an idea of what I do. So I really want you to be able to see what I'm doing. I'm going to show you my trick with trees too. So first of all, to mix your pen oil, I take my, do it on my tile right here for you. I take paint right off my palette, and I'm going to start with the black today. So I'm going to take a little bit of paint, just about that much paint off my palette, and put it right on here. I have a very skinny palette knife. This is my finger and this is my palette knife. It's about the width of my finger. Maybe it's even smaller than my finger. And I'm going to use the Easy Flow because I want it to keep moving for you guys. I don't want to have to stop and mix up some more. But if you want to work on this a little at a time because, you know, well, this just really isn't your thing, you really aren't crazy about doing pen work, then I would say use the drying pen oil. Now, how do you know it's thick enough? I put the pen, I put this in on an angle and just get maybe as much as you see there in the black in oil. And then I mix it in, and I use the oil from both sides, and I scoop it up, and I see if it'll drip. And if it drips slowly like that, see how it's dripping there? Then you know it's going to work for you. It took me forever to learn that. So hopefully if you do a couple of these kinds of things, you'll know how to do them yourself. Okay. The other thing is, some other things that you might want for this is you'll want a good pen nub. So let's say you're working in and you got the oil's right, you know the oil's right and everything, but it's just not going on for you. It's going on real, almost, you know, intermittently with the pen. Then my thought is, let's move it up this way a little bit. My thought is that it's your pen nib. Now, other brushes you might need today, I have a little micro, which is like this. Here, where are you there? Oh, you can't really see it there. It's like 2 or 3 hairs coming out of this. I have a long liner. I have a number 2, which is a quill brush, just a number 2, for a couple places. And then I might need to rely on my erasers. And the erasers that I would rely on are either the stub. This is a Pico-Pay, the one with the little, we used to call those Pico-Pay tops. They used to be on the back of toothbrushes. Hyanet. And then you could also use your wedge, either end of your wedge, whatever worked for you. So those are just some things you might want to have on hand. Now, for my particular drawing that I am working from, there are a little heavier lines on here. So I think what I'm going to do is take my liner, make sure it's clean. You always have to clean it still and put it in oil still. If you're using a liner with your pen oil, and dip it in your pen oil, and then go and just put I'll do it this way so you can see. I'm going to do it upside down. Right here where the purple is, that's a dark line, and I'm just going to go across like this. And then coming down the side here of the barn, that's a line. I'm actually making it double thickness. Okay. And then here, that's a line. That's a line. And this is a line. All right. Now you can go to your next smallest brush, which is your little tiny one here. And you can put it in your oil, put a little in your pen oil, and you can start if you want. I'm going to have to do it this way because it's hard to see. I'm just going to start and put small lines across like this. They can be wavy. If your hand's shaky, this is fine. Try to keep them a little bit light. And then I'm going to put little ones coming this way, kind of like little shingles, you know. I did this originally with a pen, and it took too long to bother doing it, so that's why I'm doing it this way. Okay. Now I'm going to get into the pen. When you use your pen, use it on a 45-degree angle. You do not get anything in that little hole. You scoop. And here, there, stay put. Let me get this up again. You scoop with the side of your pen. You scoop the oil onto the end. And then you just tap once to make sure there's not this big glob on the end. That happens a lot. And if you don't do the tap, you might end up with a huge glob on here that you can't get rid of. And so now I'm trying to make sure you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to come down this side. Normally I would do this all facing me, but then I'd be on top of this and you couldn't really see what I was doing. I'm going to go across the bottom. This one can be kind of wiggly-waggly. It doesn't have to be real good. I'm going to go on either side of the door. Starting to run out, so I scoop up a little more. I'm going to go on this side of the door. This side of the door. Scoop up a little more. And I'm going to come down here. Maybe down here. Maybe down there. And then I'm going to make boards going across. They can be half boards, full boards, angular boards. Remember, this barn is falling down. So the good news is you'll learn how to use your pen. The perfect news is you don't have to be super accurate with it. And then you're going to maybe make a little square here that looks like the door was open. And you can make like a little X here if you want. You can kind of decorate this any way you want. So feel free to add any embellishments that you think would be cool on there. Okay, and I don't know if you can see what I did, but there you can go a little better. Here, I'll back it off a little bit so you can see how it turned out there. Okay. Alrighty. Now I'm going on with the barn. I'm going to go straight across. That seems to work the best for me. So where this purple is, I have a line at the top, and I'm just going to go right over the top of the window there. And I have a line at the bottom of the window, a little square, kind of like a little ledge. And then I have like another little line that comes down here, a little line that comes down here. And then this is going to be more like this, back and forth. You see what I'm doing? I'm going back and forth. And then over here, I'm going to make it a little more like this on an angle, and maybe one across just to make it look like there's stuff getting messed up in there. And we have the stud showing up across the top. So I'm going to go here and here. I'm going to make them a little thicker this time. And here, 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 and here. Then I'm going to do this guy here. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, it can be crooked. And then on this side, there we go. So a lot of this is just outlining what's already out there for you. And you can kind of see it already. I'm going to go over the window pieces here. And then this is going to be these down lines. They can be interrupted, by the way. You can interrupt them there and come down like that, and then interrupt them here, interrupt them here. You can do that. That's fine. You can make them skippy. You can make them thin. You can make them thick. Whatever you want to do. And then over on this side, I also have some boards coming down. So I've got some, let me do it with a finer brush. Not the real fine one, the baby itty bitty one. I think you'll realize that it's not so much how much paint you have on it, it's really the detail work that you do on it that helps it to come alive. And again, you can make this intermittent, you can make it fat, thin, fat, thin. I mean, this is the whole purpose, is to make this look like it's old, right? And then up here, I'm going to do this. Up. And I'm going to come around that, that, and that. Now, here I made it too thick. I don't like it. That's where your eraser comes in handy. You can take your eraser. I'm using the wedge one, the pointed end of it. And because there's no paint on there right now except the black, you can just pull it up, wipe it off, until you get it exactly the way you want it. And you won't mess anything up, okay? Alrighty, back to my pen again. We're gonna bring a long board across this way, and I'm just gonna make it thick by putting my pen across it a couple of times. There we go. Oops. Just across 3 or 4 boards. You don't have to follow me exactly. You can do whatever you want. And again, here I'm just doing these really quick little Can you see what I did there? Those really quick little guys across. That's all I'm doing. Okay, let's do this here. And remember, if you're going to make it all the way across, you have to go on the other side of some of these things that cut in the way. You know, like you can do a half of one there and a half of one here, just to kind of make them look like they're sort of spaced out right. But down here, if they only go on one side, that's fine. You can bring them back across if you want, but you don't have to. It's falling apart. You can do pretty much whatever you want. I'm going to make this darker here. I want this just a little darker. I think that made it look a little better. That's just me. You don't have to do that. Okay, now on this side, we're just going to put little boxes around the windows, pretty much. So we're going to do that with, you can do it with brown, you can do it with black. This is the darker side of the house. Oh, I missed something here. I'm going to take my, my number 2 brush, this little one here. Enjoy your vacation. Oh, I will. You don't have to worry about it. You're just going to put a little of these guys up in here, just to make it look a little funky. And I'm going to put a little black under here with my brush. Okay. Now I want brown. You can do brown ink. You can do black ink. I think I might stick with black because you'll be able to see it easier. But if it were mine on this one here, let me show you what I did. Here I switched to the dark brown. So it's really up to you what you want to switch to. I'm going to do this in black because I think it'll be easier for you to see. And I'm just putting these little, here, let me get this. Oh, gotta get more ink. I'm using the Easy Flow. And I'm doing it this way, this way, this way, and this way. I'm doing it in the black because I think it's easier for you to see, but I would probably recommend that you do yours in the brown because I think it looks more natural on here, but it's up to you. I'm going to make a few little stairs here by just coming down like that. This is kind of the fun part of it. You can decorate this little house any which way you want. Here we have some dotted lines coming down. Here we have a straight line coming down. This is a door here that's open. I'm just going to do like a dotted kind of sketchy line down this side here, a little underneath there. And then this is another kind of a door that could open. And this here is another door that can open. Oh, losing my stuff here. Let me get it. Okay. You have trouble getting your gook up. You might want to go through and regroup like that so that you have all your oil and pen oil all in one spot, and kind of it'll give you more to scoop up, and I think it'll make it easier to work. There we go. And this little guy over here actually has little squares around him, like that. And this guy can, if you want him to, you at least put a little thing on the bottom of him. And this is a door here. And he has a little line that goes across there. And you could put like a, I don't know, a handle on there. You could do that. You can even up the stuff if you want. And then on the very end, I'm just going to do a real easy kind of sketchy line down. There we go. And I'm going to put a line up this way and a line over this way. And then the doors, I just outlined the doors. If you wanted to make it look more Barney, you could do this, you know, and put these on like this. If you wanted it to look more like a barn, that's fine. Then you're just going to go over your roof. Your roof is pretty simple. It's just a line. Interrupted line. You're going to come down here a little bit. It's an interrupted line up here. And it's an interrupted line on this side. Okay. Now I think the next thing I want to do is put my trees in. So there's a tree here. And there's two big trees here. I kind of narrowed down what I originally had. I'm going to show you my secret with my trees. So I'm going to take, I do at this point have to make up some brown ink. I'm using the rich brown. I'm using my Easy Flow. So I'm dipping it in, mixing it up. I was making it kind of soupy, so I thought maybe I didn't need the whole other side, but I'm not so sure I did it right. Nope, I didn't. See, it wouldn't drip. So I need just a little more. There we go. Now let's see if it'll drip. Nope. I need a little more. This is how you tell. Can you see what I'm doing here? Yeah, you can. Now you see it's really... Come on, drip. Yep, okay, it's ready. And that's how you know. It is truly the consistency of ink. I'm going to take my long liner, dip it in a little oil, dip it in a little bit of my pen oil, and I'm going to put a little bit of the trunk down here. I start from the bottom and I work my way up. Then I turn it upside down. Let me make sure you can see where I am. I turn it upside down and I start coming up this way. If you've ever looked at a tree, as it grows, it gets thinner near the top. So you want it thicker at the base. And you want to establish those thicker branches down there. Okay, now I'm going to turn it around again. And I'm going to be working on the upper part. So I get my pen. Now, I'm telling you right now, don't use turpenoid or anything on your pen. Just wipe your pen off. Because if you use any of those at this point, I know you have black on it, but if you use any of those at this point, they will sink down inside the pen, and they will cause you to have all kinds of problems with, they'll keep spilling out, and they'll keep doing that spreading thing all over your stuff and just making it a mess. So now I'm going back over upside down again. And I'm going to start up here. Oops, I need to test my pen. There we go. And I'm just going to do these little tiny guys up here. As far as I can do them. Oops. There we go. know if this is quite as thin as I need it to be. It's working okay though. And remember, they don't all go the same direction. Try to get them going off to the other side and take your time with it. See right there, I stuck my hand in it. But because we don't have any background color on here yet, I can fix it. Okay, that's my first tree now. This was my first tree over here, where I just used my long pointer. See how disjointed it looks? I don't think it's nearly as pretty as this one is. So my choice would be, if I had to have a choice, my choice would be to do it with the 3 different brushes. Do it with the thicker one, then the thinner one, and then the fine pen. So let's do that again on this side. We're going to do 2 more on this side. We're going to pick 2 and we're going to put them over here. Then turn it upside down. Come up. Okay, and then here, I'm going to come up the middle. Now this is a winter scene, so and you're just doing the main branches. If you do them upside down, it's a little easier to build them. And then I'm going to do a stumpy one down here. And let me just fix this a little here. I just don't like that. Okay. Am I still in? Oops, no. There we go. I'm just going to do some fixing right here. And I want to do a stumpy one down here, so let me get the base in here. I don't want him to be a very pretty one. Beep, beep. You know how there's always that one stumpy kind of looking one. There we go. Alrighty. Clean my brush off. This is probably the most carefully you will see me paint, because I am not usually a very careful painter. I don't like the thickness of this here. Let me see if I can thin that out. There we go. And anywhere that you have little problems, you can always take and put in little tiny branches. But you know, it's like a root system. Remember, your tree is just like the way it grows is just like the roots underneath. It goes from big to little. I'll move it over a little here. We're going to get a few more up in here. Up. See, if I turn this on its side, does nothing. If I turn it this way, I get it. So you have to hold it at 45 degrees, really. That's the secret there. And I mean, you can go nuts. The tree that I actually is in the background of the real farm here is just covered with little branches. So you could go nuts if you want. I just think it gets to be a bit silly after a while. And then this guy here, I'm just going to put, oops, I'm on my side. That won't work. Just going to put a few here and here. Kind of reminds you of Halloween, doesn't it? And then we're going to do a little bit of the background. I'm going to try not to touch these trees too much. I should have probably done the background by them before I did this. Alrighty. I'm still doing my trees. Oops. I need to get up where I got a little more juice up there. There we go. Okay. I'm pretty happy with that. Put a few more in through here. There we go. I'm pretty happy with that now. Now back here, I'm just going to put a few twigs. So I'm going to, again, turn it upside down and start. Oh, you know what I should do first? So I know where the twigs are going. I'm going to take my little teeny tiny tube, number 2 brush. I'm going to take a little bit of the gray, and I'm just going to put it around, well, the black, but I'm going to leave it more gray, and put it around kind of like a little shadow here. There we go. Maybe bring it a little over in this way and a little out in this way. There we go. Okay. And now I'm going to create these little twigs behind here. So they're going to come up from that point. And I'm going to do that with the pen too. Ha ha ha. Come on, guy. That's why I said this is a really good pen study. So if you're new to painting and you have not used a pen much, this is a good study for that. But if you really, here, let me just move this for a minute. I got to consolidate my ink there. Okay. But if you really are getting tired, stop. Because there's no sense making you hate this. The idea is to help you get a little more control. The other thing is have a light touch on the pen and it will make it a little easier. Just barely hold it. Of course, I hold it with 2 fingers and you shouldn't do that, but and then I'll turn it over this way and see what it looks like. And then back here, we'll do a few of those too. I just think they flow a little better when you do them upside down. So this is what I have so far. There. Now in the front, I'm going to take my liner. Well, the liner's going to be a little thick. I'm going to take my little micro brush, and I'm going to dip it in like I have a ochre here. And again, I'm going to do things upside down. I'm going to go like this. I'm going to mix some yellow with it. Well, that's not working as well as it should. Here, let's take the black off that I have there. There we go. Oh, I know. Let's take my my Pico-Pay and just wipe it up this way. Make grass that way there. Because that's all painted. So it'll give you the look. Good. And then you can go in and use a little yellow. And a little ochre. Okay. And then I'm going to go down and get a little brown with my ochre, and I'm just going to start filling in down below here. I'm going to take my number 10 brush. And this is where I'm going to use my warm brown green. You don't have to. You could use brown. You could use any of the other colors you have, but I kind of like the warm brown green. And I'm just going to create these little, I don't even know what you call them, little patchy things, right? Little hilly moundy things that you see out in the country. You can even do the tops of them by just pulling down like that to make them look a little more, okay. I'm just doing these little guys there. They're just little patches. And then I'm going to take, and I'm going to take my liner. And then I'm going to take my ochre, my yellow, and I'm just going to do a little of that. Oh, I need a little brown. And a little down here. And maybe a little up in here. You want to make it look a little abandoned. And then I'm just going to take a little bit of my brush here and just kind of level those out. Maybe pull these down a little bit, pull that down a little bit. And then I will sign my name and it'll be pretty much done. I'm just taking it and sort of going down the tree to give it a little. And then over on this side I would do the same thing, just a little there, just to give it a little, maybe a little up in here. Okay. Now this looks very spooky because it's so darn dark compared to my other one. So this is the one I did tonight. And that's with the darker colors. So if you wanted everything this dark, I think what I would do is I would go and fire it with the black and everything you put on tonight, and then come back and put the color on another time, and you might have to darken the black and the brown again. This is the one I did before. Look how different they are. Like night and day, huh? Very pretty, yeah. So it just depends what you want. You could put a pond in the front. You could put animals in the front. I mean, you can do whatever you want with that. It's entirely up to you. But I would fire whatever you do tonight. If you do all the pen work, fire it. Then if you still want color on there, I would put the color on the next time. And if you need to reinforce the pen work, I would do it then. Because you don't want to really mess it up, and that would take care of it. And then you'd kind of know what you're doing too. So pick up those brushes, keep painting, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye. I hope you enjoyed the program, and I hope you'll take a minute to subscribe so that other people can learn more about China painting and we can get the word out to more people. You also can look at the links below. My Paintnporcelain.com website has a lot of freebies and printables for new and experienced painters, as well as studies, supplies, and even some of my hand-painted china. So thank you again, and I'll see you next time.